Lieutenant James Parker stood in the orientation hall of the Galactic Military Academy, surrounded by 300 alien cadets from across the Confederation. The holographic display showed a grim-looking planet with volcanic activity and unstable weather patterns. "Welcome to Extreme Survival Course 101, announced Commander Vrektal, a four-armed Kryn whose species had evolved on a peaceful garden world. "This course has a 40% failure rate. It is designed to prepare you for the worst-case scenarios you may encounter during military operations." James glanced around. Most cadets looked nervous. Some were already trembling. He noticed other humans scattered throughout the crowd, about 20 total. They all wore the same confused expression he felt. "You will be deployed to designated hostile environments," Commander Vrektal continued. "You must survive for 72 hours using only basic equipment. No advanced technology. No rescue protocols unless you activate your emergency beacon, which results in automatic course failure." The hologram shifted to show the grading criteria. James read through them. Maintain core temperature in variable conditions. Secure potable water. Navigate without GPS assistance. Avoid or neutralize environmental threats. Construct adequate shelter. Signal for extraction at designated time. Seems straightforward, James muttered to himself. A Valerian cadet next to him, a being that looked like a floating jellyfish with bioluminescent spots, rotated toward him. "You cannot be serious, human. This course is legendary for its difficulty. Last year, only 62 cadets passed. Out of how many? 183. James did the math. That was about a 66% failure rate, worse than the commander stated. "What part is hardest?" "All of it," the Valerian whispered. "The temperature shifts alone cause system shock in most species. And the water purification without technology? Requires extensive chemical knowledge." Commander Vrektal's voice boomed again. "You will be divided into species-appropriate environment groups. Each group faces challenges calibrated to push your survival capabilities to the limit." The assignments appeared. James found his name, Group 7H, High-Gravity Deathworld Origin Species. He looked around and spotted the other humans gravitating toward a designated area. There were also two massive beings covered in thick plates, Varanthi from a heavy-gravity world, and one sleek, predatory-looking creature that James didn't recognize. Group 7H, a human woman with Lieutenant bars extended her hand. "Emily Torres, Brazilian Aerospace Division." "You?" "James Parker, North American Coalition Navy." A tall, dark-skinned human joined them. "Kofi Mensah, African Union Space Corps." "Anyone know why we're segregated?" "Different environmental tolerances," suggested another human, introducing himself as Dmitry Volkov. "We're from Earth, Class 7 Deathworld. Can't exactly drop us in the same environment as species from garden worlds." One of the Varanthi rumbled in deep, bass tones. His translator rendered it as, "You are from Terra? The Persistence Predator world?" Some people call it that," Emily said carefully. "We prefer Earth." "Your reputation precedes you," the Varanthi said, and James couldn't tell if that was admiration or concern. Commander Vrektal approached their group. "Deathworlders. Your environment will be appropriately challenging. The other cadets face conditions that would kill most civilians. You will face conditions that would kill most soldiers." "Sir," James spoke up, "what exactly constitutes extreme survival for us?" The commander's facial plates shifted, possibly a smile, though it looked predatory. "You'll find out in 12 hours. Prepare your mental fortitude. This will test everything you are." As they dismissed to gear prep, Kofi muttered, "Why do I feel like we're about to find out something embarrassing about humanity?" James had the same uncomfortable feeling. The transport ship rumbled as it entered the atmosphere of planet designation TX-447. Through the viewport, James could see a world that looked familiar. Blue oceans, green landmasses, white cloud formations. Doesn't look so extreme, Emily commented, checking her gear one last time. They'd been issued basic supplies, a knife, fire-starting kit, water container, basic med kit, rope, and a tarp. Standard survival equipment. The Varanthi, whose name was Thornax, grunted agreement. Expected lava flows or toxic atmosphere. The sleek predator species cadet, Kreth from the planet Velkera, remained silent, his reflective eyes studying the planet below. Commander Vrektal's voice came through the intercom. Attention Group 7H. Your drop zone is coordinates 34.5 north, 82.3 west. Current conditions, temperature 28 degrees Celsius, humidity 70%, scattered precipitation expected. Local fauna includes apex predators, venomous species, and aggressive territorial herbivores. Dimitri frowned. Those coordinates, wait, are those Earth coordinates? James pulled up his datapad, cross-referencing. His stomach dropped. That's western North Carolina, he said slowly. In the Appalachian Mountains. The humans stared at each other. They're dropping us on Earth? Emily's voice rose an octave. For extreme survival training? Not possible, Kofi shook his head. Earth is a restricted training world. Too dangerous for most species. Commander Vrektal entered the cargo bay. Correct, Cadet Mensa. TX-447 is Earth. Specifically, a preserved wilderness area on your homeworld. The Confederation leases it for training purposes. Sir, James said carefully, I went camping in North Carolina last summer. For vacation. Then you have a slight advantage in familiarity, the commander replied, not seeing the issue. However, you will have no modern equipment, no weather forecasts, no marked trails, and no rescue for 72 hours. Many species cannot survive even 12 hours in such conditions. Thornax spoke up. Commander, my species evolved on a 1.4G world with megafauna predators. We are prepared for this challenge. Excellent confidence, Cadet. The commander's plates shifted again. You'll need it. The drop begins in 60 seconds. They strapped into individual drop pods, reinforced capsules designed for rapid deployment. James had done this a dozen times in training, but never to Earth, and never without pickup coordinates programmed in. Remember, the commander's voice echoed as the bay doors opened to screaming wind, 72 hours. You will face challenges designed to break trained soldiers. Survival is not guaranteed. Use your emergency beacon if you cannot continue. 3, 2, 1, deploy. The pods launched. James felt the familiar violent acceleration, then the jerking deceleration as anti-grav buffers engaged. Through the small viewport, he saw forest canopy rushing up. The pod impacted with a crash, safety systems absorbing most of the shock. James popped the hatch and emerged into humid summer air filled with the sound of birds and insects. He took a deep breath. Smelled pine, earth, moisture. Checked his surroundings, deciduous forest, some conifers, rocky terrain sloping downward. A stream gurgled somewhere nearby. His communicator crackled. Group 7H, report status. Parker here. Landed safely. This is just woods, sir. Torres, good landing. I'm about 100 meters from a river. Volkov. I can see a meadow. There are deer. Mensa. All good. Found some blackberry bushes. Thornax's deep voice, this is the extreme environment. I see no volcanic activity. No radiation. No toxic flora. Kreth hissed something that the translator rendered as, this seems pleasant. Commander Vrektal's response carried an edge of confusion. Proceed with survival protocols. 72 hours begins now. James looked around the peaceful forest, listening to songbirds, feeling the comfortable warmth. Somewhere in the back of his mind, a realization was forming: what the Confederation considered extreme survival training was just camping. This was going to be interesting. 6 hours into the challenge, the humans had established a base camp near the stream Emily had located. James had to admit, even working separately at first, they'd all gravitated toward the same logical location: fresh water, level ground, natural shelter from a rock overhang. Kofi arrived carrying an armful of deadwood. Found a good fuel source about 50 meters that way. Lots of dry pine. Perfect, Dimitri said, already arranging stones in a fire pit configuration. We should boil water before drinking, even though this stream looks clean. Emily returned from scouting with a handful of wild plants. Found cattails by the marsh downstream, some dandelions, and I'm pretty sure those are wild onions. We won't starve. Thornax emerged from the tree line, watching the humans with increasing bewilderment. You have established shelter, located food, and are creating controlled fire? Already? Basic camping stuff, James shrugged, using the fire starter kit to ignite the tinder bundle Kofi had prepared. We were taught this in youth programs. I was a scout. A scout? Wilderness training for children, Emily explained. Kids as young as 7 learn basic survival skills. Fire starting, shelter building, water purification, navigation. Kreth materialized from the shadows. His species were ambush predators and moved with unnerving silence. Your young are trained for hostile environment survival? It's educational, Kofi said, blowing gently on the growing flames. Teaches self-reliance, respect for nature, problem-solving. We teach our young these skills in military academies, Kreth said slowly. After they reach maturity. You teach children? Well, somebody has to teach them, James said, filling his water container from the stream. Can't have kids wandering into the woods unprepared. Why would children be in wilderness? Thornax looked genuinely confused. The humans exchanged glances. Summer camp? Emily offered. School trips? Family vacations? Hiking is a popular recreational activity. You recreate in survival conditions, Kreth stated flatly. I mean, we don't think of it as survival, Dimitri said, suspending his water container over the now healthy fire. It's just nature. Being outdoors. Their communicators crackled. Other cadets reporting in. The reports were not encouraging. Group 3A, we have not located water yet. 2 cadets are experiencing heat stress. Group 5B requesting guidance on predator deterrence. We heard large animal vocalizations. Group 2C, our shelter collapsed. Current temperature dropping rapidly. Several cadets hypothermic. Commander Vrektal's voice, all groups, this is expected. Remember your training. Use your resources wisely. James looked at their setup: sturdy shelter using the tarp and natural materials, fire going strong, water boiling, food identified, defensive perimeter established. They'd done all this in 6 hours, and it had felt casual. Group 7H, report status, the commander demanded. Emily keyed her communicator. Camp established, Commander. Fire operational, water purification in progress, food sources located, shelter secure. A long pause. Repeat that, Cadet Torres. We've completed the basic survival protocols, sir. Setting up for the night now. Another pause, longer this time. Group 7H, you have been deployed for 6 hours. Standard protocol completion time is 18 to 20 hours. Sir, we're just camping, James interjected. This is pretty standard stuff for humans. Thornax added, the humans are frighteningly efficient. They move through wilderness as if they evolved for it. We did, Kofi said simply. Humans are pursuit predators and persistence hunters. We literally evolved walking long distances through varied terrain, adapting to different environments, and surviving on whatever we could find. Kreth's eyes gleamed in the firelight. Your entire species is adapted for this. For Earth, Emily corrected. And Earth is, well, it's trying to kill everything on it constantly. You adapt or die. The communicator crackled again. Group 4D requesting medical evacuation. Cadet ingested unknown plant matter. Toxic reaction. James winced. That's rough. Plant identification is tricky if you're not familiar with the species. You all know plant identification? Thornax asked. The edible ones, sure. And definitely the poisonous ones, poison ivy, poison oak, hemlock, nightshade. You learn to recognize those early. Poisonous plants are common on Terra? Very, Dimitri confirmed. Also venomous insects, toxic fungi, dangerous wildlife. You learn to identify threats as children. Kreth settled near the fire. I begin to understand why humans have such reputation. Your young survive trials that kill trained alien soldiers. That's a bit dramatic, Emily laughed. But as night fell and they heard more distress calls over the communicator, cadets struggling with basic fire starting, failed shelter construction, inability to locate food, panic over nocturnal animal sounds, James began to wonder if Kreth was right. Day 2 began with ominous clouds building over the mountains. James had woken at dawn, a habit from years of camping, and immediately assessed the weather. Storm coming, he announced as the others stirred. We should reinforce the shelter and secure our gear. Within an hour, they'd trenched around the shelter for drainage, secured additional supports, moved the fire to a protected area, and elevated their supplies off the ground. Thornax watched their preparations with academic interest. You predict weather without instruments? Old school methods, Kofi explained, pointing at the clouds. See those mammotus formations? Combined with the air pressure drop, you can feel it, and the wind shift. Classic thunderstorm setup. My people use atmospheric sensors, Thornax admitted. Those help, Emily agreed, but humans learned to read weather signs thousands of years ago. Survival depended on it. The storm hit around midday with impressive violence. Thunder cracked overhead, lightning illuminating the forest in stark white flashes. Rain came down in sheets. The communicator erupted with panic. Group 2C, our shelter is flooding. Group 5B, lightning struck near our camp. Group 3A requesting emergency evacuation, multiple cadets in distress. Commander Vrektal's voice was tense. All groups, seek lowest ground, avoid tall trees, stay away from water. This storm is severe. Inside their reinforced shelter, the Group 7H cadets were dry and comfortable. Dimitri had even managed to keep a small fire going in a makeshift alcove that vented smoke out while protecting the flames. This is exciting, Emily said, watching lightning through the shelter opening. Reminds me of camping in the Rockies during monsoon season. You camp during storms? Kreth asked, his usual predatory calm showing cracks. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Weather changes fast in mountains. You just prepare properly. James was monitoring the radio chatter with growing concern. It sounded like half the groups were in serious trouble. The storm was apparently beyond what most species considered survivable without technology. Group 6D has activated emergency beacon, Commander Vrektal announced grimly. Extraction in progress. That's the fourth group today, Kofi noted. This course really is as hard as advertised. For them, Thornax rumbled. For you humans, this is, what did you call it? Camping? Pretty typical camping, yeah, James confirmed. I mean, it's a good storm, but nothing crazy. No tornado warnings, no flash flood alerts. Tornado? Kreth interrupted. Rotating wind columns. They sound like freight trains, can throw debris at over 200 kilometers per hour, rip trees out of the ground. And these occur on Terra? Frequently. We have a whole region called Tornado Alley where they're common. Kreth's translator made a sound that might have been a whimper. The storm raged for 3 hours. When it finally passed, leaving the forest dripping and fresh-smelling, Commander Vrektal ordered a full status report. 17 groups reported major setbacks. 8 had activated emergency beacons. 23 cadets were out of the course. Group 7H, status, the commander asked. All secure, sir, Emily reported. We stayed dry, maintained our fire, no injuries. Actually quite pleasant after the storm passed, temperature dropped, humidity is better. The silence on the other end was profound. Cadet Torres, you found a severe electrical storm, pleasant? Well, yeah. The sound of rain is relaxing, the temperature drop was refreshing, and the forest smells amazing after rain. Very peaceful. More silence. Finally, Group 7H, you continue to exceed performance expectations. Continue protocols. After signing off, Dmitri started laughing. They have no idea. No idea about what? Thornax asked. That we're not being tough or well-trained. This just isn't hard for us. This is literally a fun weekend. James nodded, stepping out into the post-storm forest. Sunlight was breaking through clouds, creating shafts of light through the canopy. Birds were singing again. A deer watched them from 30 meters away before bounding off. You know what the real challenge is, he said suddenly. What? Emily asked. Pretending this is difficult so we don't make the rest of the class feel bad. They looked at each other and realized he was right. They'd been holding back, unconsciously trying not to seem too comfortable while their alien classmates struggled with basic survival. That's actually kind of sad, Kofi said quietly. They're all suffering through what we'd consider a camping trip. Kreth emerged from the shelter, his sleek form gleaming wet despite staying inside. This is why humans are feared, he said softly. Not because you are violent. Because you come from a world so hostile that you consider disasters to be pleasant. You are apex survivors. James hadn't thought of it that way before. But as another distress call came over the radio, he realized Kreth might be right. Humans weren't special because they were tough. They were special because Earth had made tough their baseline normal. Day 3 began with an emergency broadcast that had everyone on alert. All groups, be advised, large predator activity detected in sectors 4 through 9. Exercise extreme caution. These are apex predators native to Terra, designation, Ursus americanus, common name, black bear. Consider extremely dangerous. James stopped mid-step during his morning water collection. He exchanged glances with Emily, who was trying very hard not to laugh. They're warning about black bears, she whispered. Not grizzlies, not mountain lions, black bears? The ones that run away from loud noises? Kofi added, grinning. Thornax overheard them. You find this warning amusing? The briefing stated these creatures mass 100 to 200 kilograms, possess natural weapons, and are carnivorous. They're omnivores, mostly eating berries and insects, James corrected. And they're pretty skittish around humans. You just make noise so you don't startle them. Make noise? Thornax's translator conveyed utter confusion. Your defense against apex predators is auditory disruption? Well, they're not really apex predators to humans, Dmitri explained. We're actually higher on the food chain. This statement seemed to break something in Thornax's understanding of reality. The radio chatter exploded with panic about an hour later. Group 3A, we have visual on the predator. It's massive. requesting immediate extraction. Group 5 be taking defensive positions. The creature is approaching our camp. Commander Vrektal's voice was commanding but urgent. All groups, retreat to safe distance. Do not engage. These predators hunt species your size regularly. James looked at the others. Should we do something? We're in Sector 7, Emily checked her data pad. If there's a bear causing this much panic, it might wander our way. As if summoned, they heard crashing in the underbrush. The Group 7H cadets instinctively moved into defensive positions, Kreth fading into shadows, Thornax planting himself like a living wall, humans spreading out to assess the threat. A black bear emerged from the tree line, maybe 150 kilograms, clearly focused on something other than them. It was walking on all fours, probably 50 meters away. Contact, Kreth hissed into his communicator. Predator in Sector 7. Group 7H, retreat immediately. Commander Vrektal ordered. The bear paused, sniffing the air. It looked in their direction. James cupped his hands around his mouth. Hey bear. Yo, bear. The animal's ears perked up, focused on James. The humans started making noise, talking loudly, clapping hands. The bear, clearly wanting nothing to do with 5 large bipedal creatures making weird sounds, turned and ambled away into the forest. Total encounter time, 45 seconds. The communicator was silent for a long moment. Group 7H, Commander Vrektal's voice was strained. Did you just scare off the apex predator? Yes, sir, Emily confirmed. Standard bear encounter protocol. Make yourself known, appear large, make noise. Black bears almost always retreat. Almost always? Thornax rumbled quietly. Well, if it's a mother with cubs or you surprise it at close range, you might have problems. But generally, they want to avoid humans. More radio chatter erupted, multiple groups reporting the bear had moved into their sectors. The panic was palpable. It's heading toward Group 2C, someone reported. Defensive positions, another voice screamed. James keyed his communicator. Commander, permission to approach and redirect the bear? Absolutely not, Cadet Parker. That creature is. Sir, respectfully, my family lives in bear country. I've dealt with dozens of them. It's not aggressive, just looking for food. If someone doesn't intervene, the other groups might do something that actually makes it dangerous. A pause. Explain. If they panic and run, they trigger its chase instinct. If they try to fight it, they might wound it and make it defensive. I can redirect it peacefully. Another long pause. James could imagine the commander weighing military protocol against the clear evidence that humans understood this environment better than anyone expected. Proceed, but Group 7H will accompany you. Kreth, Thornax, stay with the humans. They tracked the bear by following the sound of panicking aliens. Group 2C had abandoned their camp entirely, watching from a rocky outcrop as the bear investigated their supplies. It's eating their rations, Kofi observed. The bear had found the concentrated nutrition bars and was happily munching through the packaging. James approached slowly, giving the bear space but making his presence known. Hey there, buddy. Those aren't for you. The bear looked up, nutrition bar dangling from its mouth. Yeah, I see you. Time to move along now. James picked up a stick and banged it against a tree. Go on. Get. The bear huffed, grabbed one more nutrition bar, and lumbered off into the forest. James turned to find 30 alien cadets staring at him in absolute silence. The rations are probably compromised, he said. You shouldn't eat anything it touched. We can help you resupply from natural food sources if you approached it, a Valerian cadet said in a whisper. You communicated with the predator. I mean, I wouldn't call it communication. Bears don't really understand language. I was just asserting. Humans are insane, someone muttered. Humans are apex, Kreth corrected quietly. On Terra, they are the predators all others fear. James wanted to argue, but the way the bear had retreated at his approach, the way it had done exactly what he expected, made him realize Kreth was right. On Earth, humans were the apex. Everyone else was just visiting. By the final day, Group 7H had become an impromptu survival consultation service. Cadets from other groups were constantly requesting advice over the communicator, and Commander Vrektal had stopped pretending this was going according to plan. Group 3A requesting guidance on water purification, came another call. Our chemical treatment failed. Emily responded. Do you have fire capability? Yes, but water contains sediment. Filter it first. Use cloth if you have it, or make a filter from sand, charcoal, and grass in layers. Then boil for at least 3 minutes. That kills all pathogens. How do you know it's been 3 minutes without chronometer? James jumped in. Count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Each count is roughly 1 second. We teach this to kids. You teach children to measure time through counting? The alien cadet sounded amazed. How else would they time things? Kofi asked, genuinely puzzled. Chronometers. Always chronometers. The humans exchanged looks. They'd all grown up counting seconds for games, cooking, experiments. It was so basic they'd never considered other species might not do it. Group 5B here, another voice interrupted. We've located fruit but cannot determine if edible. Requesting guidance. Describe it, Dimitri said. Spherical, blue-black in color, grows in clusters, approximately 1 centimeter diameter. Probably wild blueberries. Did you see birds eating them? Yes, multiple small avian species. Then they're safe. General rule, if birds and mammals eat it, humans can too. Not foolproof, but good guideline. Thornax, listening to this exchange, rumbled a question. This is also taught to children? Yep. Don't eat mushrooms unless you're absolutely sure. Watch what animals eat. Bright colors often mean poison. White berries are usually bad, red berries are 50-50. You teach children rules that are 50-50 for survival? We teach them to be cautious and observant, Emily corrected. Humans have been foraging for hundreds of thousands of years. It's instinctive for us. A new voice crackled over the communicator, higher authority. This is Admiral Kreshna, Academy Commandant. I've been monitoring this course. Group 7H, your performance is unprecedented. Thank you, sir, James responded carefully. I'm not certain it's a compliment, Cadet. You've completed what we designed as extreme survival training as if it were recreational activity. You've assisted 13 other groups in basic protocols. You even neutralized a hostile predator through non-technological means. The bear wasn't hostile, sir. Just hungry. You approached an apex predator, the Admiral said flatly. Species that evolved on garden worlds have deep instinctive fear of large carnivores. You treated it as a minor inconvenience. Kofi spoke up. Admiral, with respect, on Earth we coexist with predators much larger and more dangerous than black bears. Humans have survived everything from polar bears to saltwater crocodiles to great white sharks. We're adapted for it. Yes, the Admiral said slowly. I'm beginning to understand why the Confederation was hesitant about human military integration. You're not just competent soldiers. You're survivors on a level we didn't know existed. Kreth added his perspective. Admiral, if I may. I am from Velkara, a world considered hostile by Confederation standards. We have megafauna predators, extreme weather, toxic flora. My species trains intensively for survival from adolescence. Humans do this casually as children, on a world that makes Velcara seem tame. You consider Terra worse than Velcara? The Admiral asked. Terra has hurricanes that level cities, earthquakes that reshape continents, volcanic eruptions that alter climate, predators in every ecosystem from oceans to mountains, disease-carrying insects, poisonous plants, extreme temperature variations, and it orbits at just the right distance for liquid water, making it perfect for life, which makes it perfect for competition. Kreth paused. Humans evolved in a crucible of constant danger. They don't just survive it. They thrive in it. They find it relaxing. The communicator was silent. James felt uncomfortable with this characterization. We're not special, sir. We're just adapted. Any species would develop these skills in our environment. No, Cadet Parker, Admiral Kreshnaw said quietly. Most species would go extinct. That's why there are so few Deathworlds that produce intelligent life. The mortality rate is too high for complex civilization to develop. But we're here, Emily said softly. We made it. Indeed. Which is why I'm recommending immediate curriculum revision. Clearly, standard survival training is insufficient if we're to include humans in Confederation military operations. We need new protocols. Sir, Dmitri ventured, maybe instead of making the course harder, you let humans help design it? We can teach what we know. Another pause, then, Cadet Volkov, that is precisely what I intend to propose. Group 7H, complete your extraction protocols. You've all passed with distinction. Report to my office upon return. The transmission ended. Thornax looked at the humans with something approaching awe. You just convinced the Commandant to restructure military training. We just offered to help, James shrugged. By demonstrating that human children know more about survival than Confederation military cadets, Kreth observed. It was, diplomatically devastating. 1 month later, James stood before an auditorium containing 200 military instructors from across the Confederation. Behind him, a holographic display showed Earth rotating slowly, not the theoretical death world from textbooks, but actual footage of cities, forests, oceans, mountains. This is home, he began simply. To 8 billion humans. And yes, it's classified as a Class 7 death world. But to us, it's just Earth. He pulled up climate data. These are temperature variations in my home city, -20 to 38 Celsius annually. Humans adapt clothing and shelter. No biological modifications needed. A Valerian instructor raised a tentacle. How do you survive such thermal variation? Layers. Cold weather, insulation, moisture-wicking base layers, wind protection. Hot weather, light, breathable fabrics, hydration, shade. Humans developed textile technology specifically for environmental adaptation. Emily advanced the presentation. Predator coexistence. Earth has large carnivores on every continent. Humans develop strategies, make noise while hiking to avoid surprises, store food properly to avoid attracting animals, understand behavioral cues, carry deterrence in high-risk areas. You don't eliminate the predators, asked a grantee instructor. Some areas do controlled population management, but mostly we coexist. They were here first. We learned to share the space. Kofi took over. Natural resource utilization. Humans can identify thousands of edible plants, fungi, insects. We can purify water through multiple methods: boiling, filtration, solar disinfection, chemical treatment. We can create fire using friction, sparks, solar concentration, even ice lenses. Ice makes fire? Someone asked incredulously. Clear ice can focus sunlight like a lens. Takes patience, but yes. Dmitri showed navigation techniques. Humans navigate using star patterns, sun position, natural landmarks, plant growth patterns, animal behavior, water flow. We've been doing this for millennia. Admiral Krishna, seated in the front row, spoke up. Instructors, what you're witnessing is not exceptional human ability. It's baseline human normal. Group 7H didn't excel in extreme survival because they're elite soldiers. They excelled because they're products of Earth. He stood, addressing the room. The Confederation has operated under certain assumptions about survivability. We design equipment, protocols, and training based on garden world baselines. Then humans arrive and demonstrate that our extreme is their everyday. A Kryn instructor stood. Admiral, are you suggesting we've been training our forces incorrectly? I'm suggesting we've been training them incompletely. Humans have survival knowledge we didn't know existed because we never needed it. Our worlds didn't try to kill us constantly. James felt that was a bit dramatic, but the instructors were nodding solemnly. The proposal, Admiral Krishna continued, is to integrate human survival expertise into core military training. Not to make other species into humans, that's impossible, but to teach the knowledge humans take for granted. Emily pulled up the new curriculum outline. Basic Earth survival protocols, thermal regulation through clothing and shelter, water sourcing and purification, natural navigation, wildlife awareness, foraging fundamentals, weather prediction, and first aid using natural materials. This will be mandatory, asked a skeptical Quillarian. For any soldier who might deploy to variable environments, yes. We can't have forces failing in conditions humans consider pleasant weather. Kreth, now officially assigned as liaison between human and Velcaran training programs, added his perspective. I underwent standard Confederation survival training. It prepared me for controlled hostile environments.